We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, you're sitting at shop. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
Cold Reality Radio starts now. This week on Cold Reality Radio. We have Iranian warships sent to the USA borders. The USA-Russia rift widens at the games. Sochi signs saying we do not serve FBI and CIA agents. Russia, who lit Olympic cauldron, tweeted racist pics of Obama last year. Sochi hijack attempt over Ukrainian prisoners. We've got proof that William Jefferson Rockefeller Clinton is a sexual predator. He's a sexual predator. IRS takes $10,000 from medalists. No success. IRS is there to take everything that you have to quell your success. We've got more Great Lakes record ice cover. We've got more paying attention to things that absolutely make no sense at all. Anyway, welcome to Cold Reality Radio here on this Sunday, February 9th on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. And we, as I said, the opening event for the Olympics started last night. All of the countries were proud, from many participants to some countries who had maybe one or two, three maybe just one Olympian. And, if we actually lived in a world that was not almost a complete and total lie, this would actually excite me on some level. And it would be exciting for the world. Now, as I said, most of the world is excited about the Olympics. And, we have the Olympics every 2 years. Every 2 years, the winner. Every 2 years, swap back and forth. You got your Summer Olympics. I have a chair that I am going to just totally demolish with an axe at some point because it is just the squeakiest piece of shit you ever did here. But it was better than what I had before. And I guess I should probably try to put some kind of lubricant or something in there to try to stop it from being such a total nightmare chair. Yes, and I guess you could say that the big story, it's actually Saturday night. I'm recording this for tomorrow because I've got so many different things to do. So it actually isn't Sunday, February 9th. It's actually Saturday, February 8th. But nonetheless, I'm going to throw together a barrage of information. I'm going to try to get a guest on to just hang out and throw a few things around, throw some things at the wall, see what sticks. The AP, the Associated Press, owned by the most powerful banking family in the world. So take it for what it's worth. But Iran says warships headed close to U.S. borders. This is out of Tehran. You say Tehran, I say Tehran. Iranian warships dispatched to the Atlantic Ocean will travel close to United States maritime borders for the first time, a senior Iranian naval commander said Saturday. The commander of Iran's Northern Navy Fleet, Admiral Afshin Rezi Haddad, said the vessels have already entered the Atlantic Ocean via waters near South Africa, the official IRNA news agency reported. Now, there's many different things going on that we probably are not aware of, but with Iran, with friends the likes of China and Russia, they are already nuclear. They are already nuclear, okay? And I think that's pretty much why the Jews, the Israelis, are pushing and pushing and pushing. And let's not mince any words here, okay? It's already been established that pretty much Israel and the Jewish power within this country pretty much runs everything. If we're going to war, AIPAC wants it, the American-Israeli Political Action Committee. Okay? You do not become anything politically in this country unless you're vetted by AIPAC. Okay? A lobbying body for a foreign country. Okay, I'm not okay with that. You shouldn't be either. But what choice do we have when we're owned? And we've been owned for some time. Really is just the illusion of freedom in this country, the margarine of freedom in this country. It's not real. The USA chants. It's just gut-wrenching to hear from stupid, ignorant morons that know nothing about who they are, what they are, and who owns them. Nothing. To hear, the night that Obama got Osama, it's just ridiculous. It's just all bullshit. It's all lies. It's all lies. Osama bin Laden has been dead for many, many years prior to that evening, May 1st, 2011. Exactly, yeah. 2010, 2011. Obama did absolutely nothing. He is a banker puppet. He is the great deceiver. He is the great divider. And if you're paying attention, you'll see this. If you're not paying attention, you got your thumb up your ass, your finger up your nose. You got your eyes buried into the television set, watching some inane, worthless television show. Not learning anything, but just being entertained. Then you wouldn't know a goddamn thing about what's happening in the world. I don't know a whole hell of a lot, but I do know enough. And I'll give you an example. In our area, Sunday in the Philadelphia area, suburban Philadelphia, we had a ice storm, which I didn't see most of because north and west of the city. Now I live south of the city, so north and west of the city gets most of the more severe weather because it's colder out there. So the rain comes, the snow, the ice comes, and then people have been out of power for days. Incredible amount of people that have been out that have had no power. So I ran into a few of them at a local establishment last night, and I'm talking to this one guy. Actually, I started talking to this one guy, and it turned out that he knew somebody that I knew. And, he was probably the coolest one. And then this other guy walks in and he said his dad worked for the NSA for a number of years, but he didn't know who William Binney was. He didn't know too much about what was happening. But he did ask him, I did tell him about my podcast here, and he did show some interest in wanting to listen to it. So, hopefully, got at least a couple listeners here. So this young black fella sitting to the left of me, and I started talking. The Olympics were on, so everybody was just kind of like looking at this. Hold on a second. I'm not even sure where this is coming from because I'm just, all these browsers are just being absolutely attacked by ads. That's all this, it's unbelievable. It's not blocking them enough. I got the ad blocker plus, but it just doesn't seem to be wanting to block them. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. But we're going to be seeing more of this. We're going to be seeing more of these types of internet disruptions as...
A lot of people have never heard of Cabrini College.
But guess what? Employers have. In fact, 10 months after graduation.
So I got to kill the browser just to even be able to do anything because I cannot even tell where the audio is coming from. Isn't that nice? Unreal. I guess I will go over to my Linux box and hope that that is not totally hijacked as well. Let's see. Again, this is the Cold Reality radio program on the UCY.TV broadcasting network. So I'm talking to this young gentleman, and I said, "Do you have power?" And he's like, "No." And then I said, "What do you miss most without the power?" And I said, quick. And he goes, "TV." And right there basically said it all. Most people cannot be entertained in any way unless it's television. It's very sad. And if we get into a situation where we lose power completely, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get very ugly. So I would imagine that's pretty much, people with children, they want to, have time for themselves, and then maybe their kids, there's just so much stuff to learn. There's so much, there's books to be read. There's so many different things, as a kid that should just totally amaze, the wonderment of being young and seeing all these new type things that we kind of, as adults, kind of take for granted. Mostly, children are now completely enamored with the television set, not only for just television shows, but video game, the poisoning of the video game culture. And we're pretty much screwed. These kids are not going to develop, and they're going to become a scourge on humanity. And the parents are the ones that are responsible for that. My brother said at one point, "I can't even believe, I think about all the money that I spent on all these video games, all the video equipment, and then of course the consoles and the games, the incredible amount of money that could have been used in other areas." Not saying that it would have been used. Hindsight's always 20/20. Not saying that it would have been used for good, but it's unreal. Just the amount of time that is spent, and it's not even the youngsters. It's kids get out of school, and if there's no plan, then these kids will just meander. They'll just meander through these, post-formidable years. And, there's no college. Not saying that that's the answer. Obviously, that's not. We've seen college conspiracy. We know that people that graduate from college do not make $1 million more in their lifetime than people that don't. It's just a lie. It's just for these banks to get you in further into debt. Car loan, home loan, education loan, everything is banks. We have been raped mentally, educationally, by this system. But yet it's the only one we know, and most people would say, why, they just don't get it. They don't understand. It's so hard for people to understand. Had a conversation with a woman that I work with out of one of the offices that I support, and I just cannot believe the level of ignorance that when it comes to her understanding of the healthcare information, the healthcare bill, and and that the insurance companies wrote it. And I said, that's already been, pretty much nailed down that we were duped, that this was all a deception. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like this, you can do. It's all a lie. It was all meant to just establish this incredibly malicious piece of legislation that's going to just wreck this country. And people are going to die. People are going to die. And that's what the fuck they want. People are going to die, and that's what they want. And when I was shifting back to Iran, they're already nuclear. Whatever warships they have are quite possibly nuclear already. We, like Lyndon LaRouche says, like so many other people say, like Steve Quayle, a lot of these other people that you hear, being interviewed out there, whether it's Jones Corporation or, as I said, Lyndon LaRouche, talking that we are so close to thermonuclear war, it's not even funny. And when this shit goes down, the people, I don't think that these are lies about the Ozarks and the underground facilities that are being, that have been designed and created and built so that others can, the chosen, and, obviously not just the Jews, are going to be protected from what's going on above ground. And anything above ground is probably going to be wiped out and killed instantly or slowly being dead. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Can it happen? Yeah. We know what's already happening. We know that most of our, if not all of our history has been a lie. We know that Obama is a lie. We know that George W. Bush and his fathers and his father's father are all puppets. They're all puppets of this criminal, demonic, malicious, satanic system. Hearing more and more stories of children getting vaccinated and then bleeding from the brain, and then when the parents take the kid to the hospital, they get charged with shaking the child, shaking the child or doing something to the child so that the child is bleeding and hemorrhaging, and it's actually the poisons and the toxins that the parents willfully go in and just do whatever you need to do to my kid. It's cool. I don't want to take any responsibility. And then their kid dies, and then they wind up in prison because it looks like they beat the kid or did something horrible to the child. Just imagine that. You go through all of that, all your life, and you have a child, and then you just through believing in the system, believing in medicine, which is just shit, you allow them to vaccinate and do all the things that you think that should be done to protect the health of your child. And then you take your child home, and then it starts, just dying right in front of you. And then you take your child, son, daughter, to a emergency room, And in there, your child dies, hemorrhaging from the brain. And then they say, you did this to your kid. And then you go to jail for killing your kid when they and the system actually killed your kid. Can you imagine anything more awful than that? You know, the awful shit can happen. Don't get me wrong. But can you imagine how awful that would be? And yet I've heard it more than enough times. You know, I try to, poke fun, call names, Slowbama, Jive Turkey, all that other shit that I've learned from TV. Wouldn't even know what Jive Turkey was unless I saw it on maybe Good Times. Wouldn't it be great to just, make something unique? I think George Carlin really kind of tapped into it when he said, he just said the most outrageous things and said that's the first time anybody's ever said that. One of them was, as soon as I stick this hot poker up my ass, I'm going to just, and then he said something totally ridiculous. And he said, it's the first time that was ever said. Okay. We suffer from, I'd rather hear somebody say that, No, I think he said, as soon as I shove this hot poker up my ass, I'm going to chop my, said I'm going to chop my dick off. Sorry, Sunday for you out there. But we know he was disgusting and he was gross. But he was better than anything that we've seen politically. I would have George Carlin as the president of the United States in a heartbeat. At least he would make you laugh. And then he'd be real. And then he'd talk about Tippy, his dog. Not these scumbags, not these hellacious pigs like Boehner and Feinstein. I think about this. I hear these Jewish Americans talking about disarming and Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. Okay, just because in Germany that they were able to, they gave up without a fight, or so the story goes, and that 6 million were slaughtered, even though 55 to 60 million people lost their lives in fucking World War II that my father fought in. But we got to keep hearing about the 6 million. I'm so fucking sick and tired of people selfish. They're selfish fucking agendas. And Norman Finkelstein pointing it out, a Jew himself, saying, stop making money off of this Holocaust industry, you filthy, vomitous, hellacious pigs. Stop making money off human suffering, you fucking pigs. And I think that's probably one of the lowest things that you can do. And we know that they've pushed their agenda completely from that. But when Feinstein and Schumer and all these puppets, these rhinos, say that they want you to turn your guns in. So because your people back in the day just laid down and were slaughtered, that we should do the same thing? Absolute pig she is. I went to a freedom show, a Second Amendment show, a gun show today. I met a bunch of people, met up with a coworker of mine. We went over there and just kind of like looked around. Walked around for like 2 or 3 hours, and you just meet a whole lot of really good people, Bought some beef jerky. It's got cheese in it. It's gonna, drink, eat it tonight and drink a beer with it. But then right after that, we got food and had beer anyway. So, but it's where, I'll drink beer and then, I wake up and my mouth will be all dry because it like totally dehydrates you. You gotta drink, man. You gotta drink, get some salt, some sea salt or something and drink something to, absorb, get that fluid because the alcohol just like totally dries you out. It's not good. I've been energy tested for a lot of this gluten-free beer though. This one Dara, that, my chiropractor said, yeah, you're good with this one. And here's another thing that I don't even think I mentioned on the show. I took a little bit of substance, that kind of grows out of the ground, a decent little small, and took that to the, a lot of you are going to get real excited about this, but it's something that you've always known. But, so I take it, I put it in a little container, and then I get muscle tested for it. And you know what he says to me? He says, whatever's in there, he said, you're good with it, and it actually made you stronger. See, this is why they don't want you to have any of this stuff. They don't want you to have marijuana. They don't want you to have all this other stuff because it actually does make you stronger. It actually does, maybe destroy cancer or prevent cancer or whatever. They don't want you to have it. And then you think to yourself, hey, why is Colorado? Why this? I mean, I'm okay with it, obviously. You got Washington, and of course the 2 Super Bowl states were involved in this, in the Super Bowl, and the free flow of marijuana, turning it into drinks and things like that. But I guess if it was going to happen, it was going to happen at this time because we are on the verge of just planetary chaos, I believe. Not to fearmonger, but I truly believe that we're on the verge of planetary chaos. Planetary chaos. I do believe that we are. Let's see what we got here. Trying to find, a friend of mine, I texted her earlier tonight and, I didn't hear back from her. And then I got a text, just within the last 15, 20 minutes. And her, brother-in-law, died. He's a big guy, probably in his 70s or so, but, Big Daddy, died, today or yesterday. And, he wasn't, from what I hear, he wasn't all that great of a dude. He wasn't all that great of a dad. But that kind of shit happens in this world. And, are we responsible? Can we be forgiven for some of the things that we do, some of the hardest things that, but anyway, shout out to Big Daddy. Hopefully he's, above and not below. So rest in peace, Big Daddy. I think that is going to shake up the crew over there. So I just sent a message back saying, wow, we just talked about that because we actually did. We spoke about the big man. And then I just said, be strong for them, help them out. Her niece, her nephew, her sister, So, yep. So, death is something that we all got to deal with. You know, I watched both my parents take their last breaths. So, you know, it's one of those things. And, you know, 70, you know, people that can live into their 70s and 80s and stuff like that. I mean, that's a good long time. And especially if you've had a good life, you know, especially if you've had things, you know, and you haven't, you know, wanted for. I mean, I'm certain there's times where everybody wants for something, but, you know, if for the most part you've been able to enjoy some of the finer things, I guess that's what's important. So the Super Bowl, weed, it's not going to be long. I know we've heard stories about synthetic marijuana killing people. So, be on the lookout for that, because that's either here now or going to be on the horizon. I muscle tested for what I had, no longer have. But whatever was in there made you stronger. And, that just kind of expected it. Kind of like saw it in my mind that that's what he was going to say. There's very few things that he did say, and one of them was Michael Anthony's system toner. The system toner was like, boom, that made you stronger. So, you know, people have problems with Michael Anthony. A lot of people over at, he's very religious, and he kind of, which is okay. I mean, that's good, because, you know, he's not an extremist. I got to talk to him, maybe get him back on the program, have a chat with him. He's got a lot of good ideas. Plus he's a musician. I don't know. He said he was going to send me something. He wanted to work on some kind of musical thing. I mean, I heard some of his stuff, and then he knows that I, pick around on the guitar. So maybe there'll be a compilation. The System Toner Jam. System Toner Jam. System Toner Jam. Let me record that. System Toner Jam. Can never find anything on this phone, man. There it is. Take your time. Take your time. Actually, not even what I was looking for. There it is, voice recorder. System Toner Jam. Dun, 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 dun. System Toner Jam. Dun, 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 dun. See, that's all I have to remember, because if I don't record it, I'm never going to remember it. And then it can never be. The System Toner Jam can never be. You understand what I'm saying? Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. So it's all a crippling situation in the world, in the world we live in today. I just talked to this jackass about an hour ago, and I said, "Listen, I'm doing a podcast tonight. You should join me now."
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message system.
It's not right, I tell you. It's not right, I say. I tell you. It's not right, I tell you. So yeah, Iranian warships, quite possibly nuclear. Why are they doing this? Why are they there? Because we are, quite frankly, on the verge of some kind of cataclysmic war scenario. APACs, you know, are cleaning out their pants. They're cleaning the poop out of their pants. Oh my God! Did you see this on Drudge Report? Yeah. All right, what do we got here? U.S.-Russia rift widens at Sochi. Oh, my God. I can't stand the internet anymore. I got to be honest with you.
I think we make great beers.
Really?
They're made by a couple of guys from building a new facility, hiring local people, and it's that craft beer.
I hate you. The Olympic Games created to bring countries together and around sports appear to be having the opposite effect on U.S.-Russian relations. Rising animosities between the former Cold War powers, and Cold War to me was just both sides saying, "Hey, you tell your people we hate you and we're going to bomb you, and I'll tell my people the same, and then we'll just get incredibly wealthy off of it." And, more control over there. Rising animosity between the Cold War powers was on full display Friday when Russia chose a former figure skater who tweeted out a racially charged picture of President Obama for the symbolic lighting of the Olympic cauldron. So, Obama's just, he's a bad dude. He's no better than Vladimir Putin. Because he's the first black president. What does that entitle him to something? Does that entitle him to greatness, or is that only what Oprah says, Dopra. With her, I obviously don't begrudge her of any of her success, but you know what? Shut your fucking mouth. Help people, do your show, and stop getting political because we don't care what you have to say because you're not smart enough to realize what's going on. And even if you were, you'd still back the scum. The scum. You would back it. You know it. You know you'd back the scum. So I guess I'm not going to get the support I was hoping for. Let me call that bum back. Come on now. Come on now. You said you were going to help me tonight. You bastard. You're a bastard. I'm going to leave a message. You bastard. You stinking bastard.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 60.
Blah, blah, blah.
26. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
You're a bastard. You said you was going to help me, but now you're not picking up the phone. You're a bastard. Can't count on nobody these days. You selfish bastard. Anyway, not so much. You're not a bastard, but I am gonna punch you hard for this one. So don't think you're getting away with it. We're live anyway. And everyone that doesn't even know you thinks you're a bastard. So rectify this quickly. You're approaching Obama status. Anyway, so racially charged. Is it racially charged picture of Obama? Can we see it? I guess we can't see it here in Nightmerica, right? Maybe we can. Maybe it's out there. Maybe it's out there and we just can't see it now. Anyway, that day, that came just a day after the world found out that a personal phone call between State Department official Victoria Nuland and the U.S. ambassador to Kiev, where she can be heard saying, F-U-C-K, the EU. I mean, I feel the same way about the EU. They can just go pound sand until they bleed out. They're just an example of where we're going. The North American Union, the European Union and the North American Union. And it was leaked on YouTube. The Obama administration immediately pointed the finger at Moscow. I'm pointing the finger. Stop pointing your finger at us. We don't like it. And it's funny. It's such a stupid phrase. They were pointing the finger. And it wasn't even the middle finger. It was like the pointer finger, the one that points. So stupid. Obama administration immediately pointed the finger at Moscow, which did little to signal a denial over an incident that embarrassed Washington. Whatever. Washington should be embarrassed. And not just for this. You're a bunch of just selfish cowards, with the exception of a few. You're complicit in crimes against humanity that if there is a hell, you're going there. John McCain, going to hell. Lindsey Graham, he's going to hell. A flowery, pinkish type hell. Chuck Schumer, you're going to hell. Cuomo, for what you said about it, you're going to hell too. I look forward to possibly smelling something burning one day and thinking, that must be Cuomo burning in hell. In hell. And Al Gore in his cave in Algoria. Hello, Al. This is Al Gore. It's this global, no matter how cold it gets, it's global warming, okay? It's a good deal for America, global swarming, yeah. It's a lockbox for people, the cold. Just think when it's cold out that you're like, why am I sweating? Why am I sweating? It's cold. What's going on? Al Gore signing out from a coward cave. Al, you can kiss all our collective asses because you're a douchebag, okay? So shut up. Shut up, you lying piece of garbage. And I think that all those people, I said this to a few Southerners at the show tonight, all those people in Atlanta that were affected by the 2 inches of snow that fell down there, that they should sue Al Gore directly for anything that happened because they put their confidence in Al Gore and he let them down because his science that he bastardizes is not correct and that he should be pretty much sued that he has nothing left. His green. I have a home on the West Coast. Yeah, it's all green powered. Okay, the carbon is like so low. Yeah. Ask Bill Clinton. He'll tell you. He's been here. All right. What else we got here? Missing a mouse here, man. We've got. Well, let's take a listen to this here. This is pretty frightening here. It's called Police State. And actually, maybe somebody's already played this. It's from the Pig Mine. But this is pretty scary. Just the beginning of this.
For the last half a decade in places like Iraq, we have seen...
I don't think that's the one. I think this is the one. Police break into private home without a warrant.
I'm recording everything that's happening now.
Stop talking because they're talking about...
You're going to come inside?
Without a warrant,
You're going to come inside without a warrant? Probable cause, you're going to kick my door down. There is no domestic violence. There is no domestic violence.
Yelling.
Between two people, I'm right here.
If this is real, looks pretty real. They bust into this place.
There's one child in the house and
and
one is playing outside. Officer, there's one child.
Why are you guys not coming out? Why are you not coming out?
Because we don't live in a police state, sir. Martial law has not been established in this country.
Okay, can you do us a favor? All get down on the ground, put your hands behind your back, because we're going to kick the door.
It's weird that this cop would be staring right through the glass where if somebody's got a gun in there could just totally shoot him. So I got a couple questions about this ceremony.
The door, sir. He's got his hand up.
You're going to kick my door. You kicked my door down. You kicked my door down.
Get on the ground.
You kicked my door down.
Yes, we did. Get on the ground.
No, you have no right to be in here. You have no right to be in here. You have no right to be here. You have no right to be in here. Do not touch her. You are assaulting her.
Sounds pretty real. Don't take
For the last half a decade in places like Iraq, we have seen plenty of pictures like these.
Shut up, dude. All right. Hold on. Let's see what we got. You're on the air. Who's this? Is this Al Gore calling from Al Gore? You want me to call you back? No, dude, I got to call you so that that this can all be recorded. All right, let me call you back. What, on this number? Don't you have a Skype yet? I mean, aren't you in the 22nd century? No, he says 5 minutes. You're a bastard. Anyway, I'm calling the White House. Hello? Is Barry there? Is Barry there? This is Larry Sinclair. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steamy love affair in the back of a limo and then at the Holiday Inn. All right, let's see what we got here. Where's that on-demand Jedi at? Where is the on-demand Jedi when you need him? Hello, on-demand. Hello, on-demand Jedi. All right, so let's see what we got. A lot of people think that there's a coming invasion of a top secret from Steve Quayle, saying that it's going to be some kind of extraterrestrial thing going on. I was on the Hagman report. The Hagman report, man. This guy gets into some deep stuff, bro. Deep stuff. This is deep. I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know. How much time do we have left? I mean, seriously. Seriously, man. How much time do we have left? How much time do we have left on the planet? How much time do we have? Gotta get Axl Rose. How much time do we have? There's a lot of police activity out there. They're coming to get, they could be, I mean, literally, I mean, they could be coming right in this place. They could be They could be coming in and tase me, man. They could be tasing me. There's no doubt. I could get tased or something. What we got here? We're gonna. It could be. I'm telling you. How much time do we have? How much time do we have? Seriously, how much time do we have before that Chinese food gets here? No. There is a lot of shit going on. Wrong one. Get on, son. All the machinery making modern music can still be so retarded. I guess you all know by now I'm a total Rush head, so I'm not gonna hide it no more. Yeah, and I know that Getty's a Jew and Alex is a Jew and Neil's not a Jew, but they're good Jews. They're good music-making Jews. And they should be praised for what they do and what they've done, and not their Judaism. I mean, Alex Lifeson never was like playing Working Man, you know, like. And then he started playing the solo like. And then stopped and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a Jew." or some shit like that. And Geddy Lee wasn't like, no, his mind is not for rent. Oh, by the way, I'm a Jew. There are 2 Jews in this band. The drummer is not a Jew. We never heard that. We never heard that out of them, but they are, you know, pretty much my heroes of rock and roll. And here you go. Here's a song I wrote about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, he's a sexual predator. Bill Clinton, he's a sexual predator. Bill Clinton, you're also Rockefeller. Bill Clinton, you're a sexual predator. Bill Clinton, you're a coke snorter. You're also a filthy Rockefeller. You're a steaming pile. You're a steaming pile. Hillary Clinton, you're a scumbag. Hillary Clinton, you're a killer. You're a sexual predator, Bill Clinton. You're a filthy Rockefeller. Even more of a reason why I hate Bill Clinton is because of these allegations of him having an affair with Elizabeth Hurley, and that just infuriates me that she would, that he would desecrate Elizabeth Hurley. It was vileness. So let's see if his vileness.
Been forwarded to an automatic message system.
You are a bastard. Ratty. You're a bastard. Just, I think I'm gonna get the on-demand Jedi on here. All right, what else we got here? What else is? This is just a weekend from hell. We're all over the road today, and just waiting for some support here. Woody Allen speaks out and says, "Hey, 10 undeniable facts about Woody Allen sexual abuse allegations." That Mia never went to the police about the allegation of sexual abuse. Allen had been in therapy for alleged improper behavior toward Dylan with a child psychologist before the abuse allegation was presented to the authorities or made public. Woody. You're a sexual predator. Woody. You sexually abused your daughter. You are filth. You are a sexual predator. Woody. You perv. Anyway, so that's just two. And then you got Allen refused to take a polygraph administered by the Connecticut State Police. Allen subsequently lost 4 exhaustive court battles, a lawsuit, a disciplinary charge against the prosecutor, and 2 appeals, and was made to pay more than $1 million in Mia's legal fees. So he's totally a sexual predator. He and Bill Clinton should probably get together and like totally like sexual predatorize each other. Woody could wear like a wig, and he could pretend that he's like Scarlett Johansson or something. And then when Bill's all coked up and shit, when he's spending all that money on all his jets, and of course all the money that he stole from all the Haitian relief from after the earthquake, and then of course spreading cholera and then lying about it, saying that a Chinese peacekeeper was the cause of the cholera. That just makes me want to say, you're a liar, Bill Clinton. You you are. All right, so yeah, Jay Leno's done. Oprah got out there and sang her filth and degeneracy. Let's see what we got here. It's cold reality radio. It's random. It's random everything. It's just random.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Yeah, I'm recording a show for tomorrow, man. It's not live on the air, but it's it's recording.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I'm just kind of like, I wrote a song about Bill Clinton. He's a sexual predator. Bill Clinton. You're a sexual predator. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I thought Hillary was always like a predator on him a little bit.
Well, I mean,
she gave him
she's
some shiners, or
well, I mean, she's totally wearing the pants.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if she had a wiener too, because she's kind of like Michelle Obama, where I think that they're like I think Michelle Obama was once a dude. I think I brought that up before.
She's got a really big butt.
Yeah, she's just gangly. I think that Obama just at some point said, "Listen, find me a bunch of dudes, and then we'll turn that one that I choose into a woman, and then we'll have like test tube babies for the two children, and then from there, I mean, anything goes."
Yeah, is that where they have like two dads and try to splice that with one egg? Or
I think that's what happened. I think there's something really weird going on there that can only be described as because I mean all these
she
allegations.
worked for Subway.
Well, she totally endorsed them and their shoe rubber bread. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
She totally endorsed the polymers that are in the bread. I mean, but these chemicals are not in the UK food. So is it, possible that, that America is a target for extermination with all the chemicals that are in the food here that are not over in
oh yeah, they're to weaken us, I think, definitely.
All right. So this clip here, is this a long one or no?
It's 3 minutes 14 seconds. It's just a video I have that's getting a lot of views. I looked at my YouTube counter, and in the last month, this thing had 400 views, and then one of Lou's old shows on Einstein had like 179, and it went down from there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I made 2 years ago, it looks like.
Is this, the Zydo scam?
Yeah. Is it a scam? And so for the experiment, what I did is I put a wet paper towel over the Zydo, and you get some electrical conductivity enough where Zydo is tricked into thinking someone's hand's on it. And then I ran the test, and all the reactions were 0, the markers were 0. And then I put my hand on it. I got some markers that 60 or 70, and
yeah, it looks pretty weird.
We did it,
It looks like Zydo under wet towel.
Yeah, it's a Zydo wet towel contest.
All right, let's see this.
All right, well,
I can play it.
Yeah. I wanted to do an experiment, and this is a wet paper towel, and not dripping wet, but pretty wet. And I wanted to see what the Zydo reads. So we got a collection there. I'll hit run.
So that's what the program looks like with all that you look at when you're getting your readings from the.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people can't see my side of things.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, I figured it was something like that. And then you could see down here on the thing where if somebody loses contact, like if I were to pick my pinky up or something, you would see that on the Zyto in the lower left hand corner.
Yeah, it's got real sensors in it.
It knows, man. It knows.
Yeah, slow it up. Yeah, it's running. No hand on it. Let me see if we get responses. Oh my gosh. See all zeros. And so it appears, the human hand is absolutely necessary to get this to work. Set this range to 0 and check everything, and I'll rerun it with my hand on it. This comes off. My hand is on it. And
all right, so basically what happens is with the paper on there, you don't get the readings back. But when you have the human hand on it, it sends information. It sends the frequencies into the body, and you get your readings back. I mean, as soon as you said to me that time, your adrenals are in overload, I was like, I knew right away that it was, as soon as that happened, and that was like within like the first 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was on because 2 to 3 weeks prior to that, my chiropractor, who's a kinesiologist, said the same thing. He said your adrenals are like the same type of reaction that you got, the same kind of numbers that you got were exactly what he got from the muscle test. So I knew that right away that Zyto was totally.
Yeah, it works with good muscle testers, and the way I have the frequencies lined up, you get high reactions. This is out of 8,000 things that were assessed, and you get 2 repeats of the exact same frequency over 100. You see there's like a flipping of positive and negative reactions. That just happens. Is it a stressful, reaction, or is it something complementary? It's kind of like adjusting dosage. That's as close as I can get to it. And the other thing is the electronic signature, because that's what you're trying to get from a frequency or a supplement. That you're trying to get an image of it, and the image is sent through somebody, and there's a little reaction, or there's not, and it's not stressing. A muscle system. So that's one of the good things is getting through, 8,000 things.
Right.
But it just kind of tells you what to look for if you're like doing the name game thing with it.
Yep.
But with the frequencies, they cluster around certain like chronic fatigue or Lyme, of course, or Candida.
So what do you make of? Prior to this, I was saying that I took a sample of some pretty powerful hooch and I put it in a little container. Marijuana, I guess I should say. And I took it and I got muscle tested with it. He didn't know what was in there, and then he said, "Whatever's in there, you're okay with it." And he said it actually made you stronger.
Good. Yeah. Well, Michael Phelps.
Yeah, look at Michael Phelps. Absolutely. He just dominated, right?
Yeah. He had like 20 gold medals or something.
But I mean, he obviously wasn't high at the time.
No.
It was just his highness before that, but just his smoking of it over time.
His Highness.
His Highness, right. Yes.
I'm sure that was a movie. I think that was a movie.
Your Highness. So he dominated with that, and it's all just a joke. It's all a sick joke, and I was thinking, like, why now? Why is all this happening? And a lot of people just think, well, it was about time. I think that there's things happening where they want to get the people into it. There's probably going to be like maybe like 10 states at some point over the next year or so that are just going to look at the amount of money that's being made, you know, and then they're going to.
I think it was used for like 100, over 100 uses clearly, and you have all the fiber work that you can do with hempcrete and clothing. And they were making like laminates. I think Henry Ford had a laminate design out for a car, the body of it, and all the panels were made of this epoxy. It was like a carbon fiber back in the day.
Right.
Just the video, he's beating it with a sledgehammer, it's just bouncing off and bouncing off. And this is 80 years ago.
Yep. Yep.
So that's what pisses me off the most about all this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just all. And I think, as I said, we're going to get more states, and then they're going to introduce some of the synthetic stuff, and I think that that's going to be one of the prongs that is going to people, the weed smokers and things like that. They're gonna kind of get people sick that way in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Is there a way for you to test? Is there a way for you to test, like, if somebody gave you like a baggie of it, and how could you test to see whether it was, whether could you look through a microscope at like good, clean, organic type marijuana, and then look at something that was.
I sent you a picture of something that Jimmy's working on for assessing the biophoton signature of something. Think of maybe Carillion photography, but it's much more precise than that.
But it shows like energy, right? Because I can tell you, like, this stuff, I used to get some of this greens, like some greens from this one particular company. I read this book called The pH Miracle. And so I started learning about alkalinity, and I started learning about how important that was. And this stuff, these greens that they sent in a little canister, when you scooped it out, it looked like it was like magnetized. It had all these different
things.
Get
flash frozen to preserve the phytonutrients in them. A lot of the times, that's where those are good to get them in a powder like that. If they're flash frozen, it preserves a lot of that. It preserves the MSM too.
Right.
But when people do like the liquid, like the mangosteen or the, if it's pasteurized, that does the opposite. It removes.
It kind of kills the effectiveness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to pasteurize it, right? Wouldn't be safe unless we do, right?
Yeah, I've been rolling lime slices in calcium citrate powder. I'm like, this is a perfect little battery.
So you're making. So what do you power with it?
Just myself.
Oh.
Yeah, people do like the salt, lime, and tequila thing. Like, I really think that's something that, Mexico was taught in their culture. You better do this, if you want to avoid sickness. And I've heard they've split it up. Like this guy that worked at a Delphi plant down in Mexico, he said the engineers there would just drink the tequila. And they said, if it doesn't fix your sickness, at least you don't remember being sick.
Oh, right.
And then this girl in Guadalajara, I guess they take 8 limes and juice them in like a masticating juicer and down it.
Right.
It's like, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
And there's that master cleanse too that adds the pepper to all that.
Yep.
All good things.
Yeah. So what is it, like you say, to power you up? Like, what do you do? Like, bite into it, and then you get like
Well, I was thinking, people do like the salt and the limes all the time, but how much sodium is too much sodium,
Yeah.
Sodium's a killer.
It's so bad for you.
Giuliani show about that he did recently.
Well, I mean, is there a difference between salt? We hear about salt. We hear that when you get the right amount of salt, it creates, it stimulates hormone production. It stimulates, your glandulars. We got sea salt, we got Himalayan salt that I've had like a big kind of a jar of it for a number of years now, and I've been like, I'll use it when I'll use like the neti pot or something when there's a day when there's particularly heavy chemtrailing.
Yeah, but like
I'll put that
you
in
can have
there.
A magnesium salt or a calcium salt, just the same as sodium.
Yeah. Well, I just started using that because it came with some salt, but I didn't know what it was, so I just been using that. So I'll put it in there, or I'll put it in the kettle. I'll put the water in there, and then I'll put some salt in there, heat it up to a certain amount, and then just kind of like shake it around. So the salt kind of breaks down, then I'll pour it into the neti pot, and then I'll kind of clean out my sinuses. I just think it's a good thing to do. I think it's a good thing to do in general because, you're breathing all kinds of funk up there,
Yeah, well, I've been making that silver gel lately, and that can go up the nose and in the ears too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I need to get some of that, man. We need to start, making, I'll buy it, whatever.
Yeah, I'll help you assemble like a little kit or something.
Yeah.
For yourself project and.
Yeah, just want to make enough, rub it all over my, all over my head. Maybe I'll grow some hair or.
Yeah, I actually told some people, I was like, this might grow your hair back, but I'm not selling it or anything. I'm just giving it to people. But this guy said his kids were making fun of him because he told them and.
Yeah.
Get your magic hair cream out. It hasn't done anything for him.
Your hair goo, yeah. Well, anything, it's getting the silver or whatever is getting into his, into his skin and maybe getting into his body and helping him in other ways. So,
yeah. Hopefully, you didn't get a dud batch where the connection was off or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to check that thing all the time. It can be fidgety. I got some new wires. They've been working good.
And I'm trying to get this dude on that he's been asking me for the longest time, like, when are you doing a podcast? When are you doing this podcast again? And so I call him up tonight, and I'm like, listen, I need to record a podcast to be able to play it, tomorrow when I'm not going to be available. And he's just kind of, and I figured, okay, let me see if you're around. I didn't know what you were up to, whether you were out, on a hot date or whatever.
Dude, it's like almost 4 feet of snow here.
Oh, really? So everybody's like isolated.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So is it snow that's accumulated over a time and then it just hasn't melted because it's been so cold?
Yeah, since November we had one partial melt once the snow started coming down, and it was just real partial.
Right.
Then we've just been hammered with it. At least like we got into the 20s, and I don't think it's like 18 degrees is where salt can work to melt stuff.
Right.
But it's like you wouldn't see pavement for weeks.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so is it getting in the way? I mean, are all the girls just hanging out, staring at their Bieber concert magazines or what?
Oh yeah, people are still being full-on retards out there.
That's sad.
I mean,
it's sad.
What do they say? Like only two things that don't ever get cold: penguins and whores. Because they'll still dry. I mean, it's 6 degrees out.
Well, that's the thing. You see a lot of these young people these days are out there, and women more so because they won't wear jackets. They don't wear anything that's going to keep them warm because they'd rather look good and show off the clothes that they're wearing than wear a jacket or something and stop themselves from freezing to death.
Yeah, they're going to get nerve damage. It's not good.
Nerve damage from what? From just being from exposure?
Yeah, just exposure. Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining.
Exactly.
He was all frozen and shit. I think about every now and then you think about how cold it is and be like, oh, just imagine like, like homeless people and, like somebody who couldn't, get indoors would just like, I wonder how it is to die like that. To just freeze. I guess it would be like kind of like DiCaprio.
Freezing is not that. Freezing, I don't think is that bad. Because you just go into like a dream. But in fire, you suffocate. Drowning is some of the worst. I think that's why they waterboard people.
Right. Exactly. Because you can't ever catch your breath. And
and with fire, it's usually the carbon dioxide will, you pass out. Like when you hook a hose up to the back of your car or something. So.
All right, for those of you tuning in, this isn't a show of how to kill yourself or how to die the easiest way. It's called Reality Radio on UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. I am the Shali Lama, and my guest, co-host for the evening, for the rest of the evening, Jordan DeYoung, on djedi. If you're on YouTube, and if you're not, join up and go to On djedi and watch some of his amazing videos of how he's assisting people to regaining their health with energy medicine. And I think we're waiting for somebody else, a friend of mine who keeps on asking he wants to come on to the podcast, but he just keeps on being a total. I called him up and I was like, you're a bastard. You're a bastard. Why don't you pick up?
I found out what the Jewish word for that is.
What, bastard?
It's mamzer.
Mamzer.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Don't ask me how I know that. I've been to the end of the internet.
It's like mamzer.
MAMZER.
MAMZER. There you go.
Yeah, so this picture I'm sending you is a spectral analysis of LEDs versus halogens and fluorescents. There's like a cool and a warm LED, and then there's normal daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And the LEDs look second best to daylight, basically. And as far as...
Oh, shit. Sorry, dude. Are you still there? Hold on. Yeah, sorry about that, dude. When I tried to add this other person, I totally made another call and you went on hold. So what were you saying?
Well, I popped out this diagram of that looks at different spectral emissions from different light sources: daylight and halogen lamps, cool and warm LED sources. I think there's an incandescent, and then there's fluorescent. The fluorescent looks the most chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
That's very easy to pick up, and the fluorescent has the mercury in it. You break a fluorescent bulb, you're supposed to call in the hazmat team. Basically, it's a chemical problem.
Mm-hmm.
So people ask me about frequencies all the time. I don't want this frequency to negatively affect me. It's like, well, do you think about that when you use your cell?
Oh shit. I got you back. I'm sorry, dude. I tried to add it again, and it's just totally fucked up.
Yeah, well...
One more time. I'm sorry. One more time with what you were just saying. It was just a second, about 3 or 4 seconds that you were off.
Right. Well, people, they get concerned sometimes that a frequency might negatively affect them, but they never think about that when they're using their normal devices.
Cell phones, yeah.
Even a fan produces quite a big magnetic field because you have those magnets in it that are spinning, and that's...
Yeah, the coil, yeah.
On the coil. And then there's fluorescent lights, 60 hertz AC. Some people have a problem with computers, not as bad as, I don't, the old ones, the cathode ray tube ones were definitely bad, but.
Not so much the flat panels.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, and you can change different frequencies for your screen flicker rate, and there's a lot of good things with computers that you don't really have with a TV that I know of. But Jimmy's coming out with articles on Pulse Tech Research. We've got Lure of the Magic Box, because everyone wants this stuff, but the PFG is pretty plug and play. The organ support and brain healing seem to lend energy real well to cells, and that's what it's about. And the electricity in the cells is the same thing as the alkalinity of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, basically it takes a lot of research to do this stuff, and like the will to do research.
Yeah. The will to learn something new other than just the garbage that we've been. He totally freaking called me and said, 5 minutes. I think he's getting all ripped up. I think he's getting all fired up with the gong.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 609.
Damn Jerseyites. So what do you think about, did you see any of the opening, the Olympics last night? It seemed that like that whole, that stadium there was just phenomenal, dude. Just looking at it, it just seemed overwhelmingly like large and just like bigger than and more majestic than anything I've ever seen here. Is that wrong to say? It seemed like it was really tall and just...
Well, they roll stuff out for the Olympics, though.
Right.
Like, they create these Olympic stadiums or, like, the World's Fair or something, you know, and they'll build these gigantic structures that are used one time and then never really filled the capacity after that. No, I haven't checked it out. I saw the enhanced security that they have going on there. I thought they had like 20 battleships, and in the area. And
well, there's Sochi signs that are saying that we don't serve FBI and CIA agents over there. So they know that they're that there's stuff. Here it is. Here's an odd sign that Associated Press photographer, blah, 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 ran across Friday in the mountains outside Sochi, where Olympic skiing and snowboarding competitions are being held. No word on the restaurant's policy towards the NSA. So they're...
Well, did you hear the controversy that was on Russia today about, our diplomats controlling what happens in the Ukraine? Which is in a state of the civil war right now.
Right.
And they were, they were just saying, okay, this guy has the most experience. We'll put him in here. It's like, wait, what do we have to do with what's going to happen with that country? And, is Russia going to let us do that? And then, it's supposed to be like a big show and all intercoordinated, and then what do they give us on the media is ridiculous. But they do have to change the consensus. It seems like they always want to change the consensus.
Yeah.
And right now, people, it's more popular than ever to hate America. And
well, I guess that's the goal. I mean, that's what they've been going at for so long. We are going to get in everybody's business. We're going to get involved in everything whatsoever, and that's going to result in a overall dislike and hatred of us. So that, I think they want us to be attacked. I think they want us to be invaded like Red Dawn style.
Yeah, they do.
I think it can totally happen.
Yeah.
I think it can totally happen. So, what do you make of that? The California power grid thing, like they were that some of these transformers were like strategically attacked.
That kind of surprises me because California has such a new infrastructure, things that were built up around the East Coast, and especially East Coast, and into the Midwest was settled, way before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the wiring got built real haphazardly on the East Coast and around here, but California is pretty much all modern, So I'm surprised it happened there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this in the the story.
Someone probably hacked a smart meter and caused it.
Right. Yeah. And what's this? I hear Jones talking about Clinton, Bill Clinton, where he. I mean, obviously we know about Monica Lewinsky, but he was involved in really, really violently beating women, and a lot of this stuff was left out of.
Breathe deep.
Oh,
play some soft music. Get away to a place where you can be yourself,
I don't even know where this is.
and where no one will judge you, unless you're into that.
It just keeps on popping up, man. I mean, nothing I can do. I mean, I'm on.
Right.
It's, and this has been happening lately. I mean, even after I had the ad blocker and everything up there, there's nothing I can do anymore. I can't just leave a screen up with something so that I can go back to it and reference it without some kind of, something popping up.
Oh, the ads are horrible.
Yeah, and I had ad blocker, but it just didn't even matter. Chrome somehow on my Mac just totally got hijacked or something. But I mean, I think it's just part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
I think there's little bots and stuff in here that are doing crazy things. But so Clinton, evidently, this guy Bob Barr, who was in Congress, and he's running for Congress again. Was saying that he was involved in things, and he was Bob Barr. He was trying to
Roseanne's
husband? No. And he was trying to he triggered the whole thing that with the impeachment and all the trials where Bill was like, I did not have sex with that woman. Now let me go back and, I'm doing my job for the American people. And it's such bullshit. It's you're not doing shit for the American people, Bill Clinton.
That's how much the country's changed, though, in just, 14 years or something gap and between him and Obama.
A lot of people are saying that this is just that Obama, his first term, and now his second term are just the fourth term of the Clintons.
Yeah.
So they're basically,
but we're not, people are like, if you want this guy impeached, then sign this petition online, which does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the level of activism. But the level of activism when Clinton was around is that they at least put him on trial.
Exactly.
Obama will not be questioned.
Yeah, he's untouchable. He's so fucking untouchable. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he was in Lansing just this last week, which is an hour and a half from here, and I guess he wanted a small audience.
Right. A small, controllable audience, right?
Yeah, and I bet the highway was shut down there. I mean, this guy shuts down Michigan every time he comes here.
Yeah, whenever they go. I mean, and then I saw something completely and totally hideous today that sent shivers up my spine. Joe Biden, projecting his own presidential run. Just imagine if that AIPAC ass puppet were to become the president.
You know what?
I don't think he would. Obviously, I just don't think that he's got the. I just don't think he could. But anything's possible.
One of the things I heard about Ukraine is they switched a lot of the left and right wing views between the people, and so the communists there hate any kind of homosexuality.
Okay.
Which is completely opposite from here. And then, the Nazis, I guess, or, you know what I mean, as National Socialist types, they were like they were embracing it or didn't care, about it, or they flipped things. So I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden is like, oh, I'm Adolf Hitler now,
Mm-hmm.
And people's attention spans are so short that he'd probably get through, if they wanted to push that.
Yeah. Well, Paul Craig Roberts wrote a report on called "Washington Destabilizes Ukraine." He wrote it yesterday. The control freaks in Washington think that only the decisions that Washington makes and imposes on other sovereign countries are democratic. No other country on earth is capable of making a democratic decision without the help of Washington. The world has witnessed this American self-righteousness for eons as Washington overthrows one democratic government after the other and imposes its puppet as Washington did in Iran in 1953, which most people have no idea happened, when the CIA, as it is now, admits, and as Irvin Abrahamian proves in his book, The Coup, The New Press 2013, overthrew the elected government of Mossadegh. So Mossadegh was elected by the people, and most recently the elected government of Honduras and many governments in between. So, I mean, we're just, there's no doubt that Israel and very, very powerful Jewish AIPAC is involved in all this as well.
Yeah, LaQuenelle,
Mm-hmm. Harry Waxman.
On that at all.
Somebody said today about good riddance. Henry Waxman, this guy Reagan or something. This guy had this blog that he wrote about Henry Waxman and how Waxman's just a guy who spent an unbelievable amount of time in Congress. Like incredible term limits be damned. And he was just a total. And you look at that Henry Waxman, man. He looks like something out of a friggin' demon movie. But you were saying about what? You were saying you mentioned something that.
When I was thinking Ukraine,
right.
with Biden,
right.
They could run Biden as anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think Krispy Kreme, I think they should probably throw more than one woman in there, too. I don't know why they wouldn't do that.
Maybe Nancy Pelosi. Get a good couple laughs out of that freak.
The thing is, women care a lot more for voting. I talk to a lot of people all the time. It seems like women are more concerned with that.
Right.
And they're a voting bloc, they decided Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the women that, voted him in the first time. I think, the second time I call bullshit, but I think the first time he was definitely voted in, and he was done so by, the responsible, feminist white woman,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, just, within the last couple of weeks, I'm sitting there and I turn the computer on and I'm looking at YouTube, and then there's this Pelosi thing, and you see her on the Daily Show talking to Jon Stewart.
Leibowitz.
Right. And I mean, we know that his brother's involved with the stock exchange and everything, and he's, very, got the ties. I mean, the Jews have the ties. It's no, I'm kind of jealous that, they have the kind of power that they do. I need to know people that like that, but, it's only for them. These networks of success and things are pretty much only for them. So you have to either convince somebody that you're a Jew to be able to, to get somewhere.
Well, yeah, and it's like, it doesn't matter if they're running it into the ground as long as they're running it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It
right.
seems like.
Because that's what we decide to do, then it's us. We make that decision. You don't. The Goyim doesn't make that decision. We make it.
Yeah. For an example, I was just looking at Pauly D. failure, together, and he's failing all over the place.
Pauly D. from the
Jersey Shore.
He's foul.
the first thing that comes up is when he failed to roast Donald Trump. And
right. I remember. I watched that. He was so bad at it.
Yeah.
He was the worst.
Like, yo, I did a supermodel on a pile of money in my mansion. People are like, yeah, we all have mansions. We're at the Oscars.
Yeah, he was totally bad at it. He was the worst.
Yeah.
Like all of those. I mean, the only thing that JWoww, whatever her name is, I think she's attractive, but brainless and.
Yeah, now venereal disease ridden maybe.
Is that right? Is it? She?
I don't know. I don't want to.
All right, so
I'm full of.
Currently, Washington is working overtime to overthrow governments of Syria, Iran again, and the Ukraine. Washington has also targeted Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Brazil, and in its wildest dreams, the governments of Russia and China. On January 26th, Syrian government advisor Buthain Shaban asked Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room propagandist.
He was in Pauly D's room, the Situations Room.
The Situation Room. Wolf Blitzer.
He's in the Situations bedroom from the Jersey Shore.
Something like that. I don't know who this Buthain Shaban asked Wolf Blitzer, a propagandist for Washington and the Israel lobby, AIPAC, on U.S. TV, why the U.S. government, speaking through Secretary of State Frankenstein John Kerry, firebird, has the right to decide who is to be the government of Syria instead of the Syrian people. Polls show that the Syrian President Assad's approval ratings exceed those of every Western leader, and I mean even Webster Griffin. I'm mixing him up with G. Edward Griffin. I'm like morphing these two guys together. He said that there's actually pro-Assad rallies over the last couple of years, so it's just total bullshit. And speaking through Secretary of State John Kerry has the right, as they said, decide who is to be the government of Syria instead of the Syrian people. Even the slimy Blitzer wasn't slimy enough to answer, quote, because we are the exceptional, indispensable people, but that's what Washington thinks. So it's very, I got to tell you, I think Craig Roberts is I think he's pretty good, pretty dead on. And when I see him interviewed or his articles, I just think that I think he's a badass. I'd love to have him on sometime and pick his brain about stuff.
Yeah, well, Payday returned to radio, so that's another possible real good guest you can get on.
Well, I mean, he sent me a phone number to call, and I don't know that I called it already. Maybe I sent a text or something to it. I guess it's probably a mobile phone rather than a landline. But when did he return?
Thursday,
and did he say it was
Mike's show?
So he was on with Mike.
Yeah, I used to promote him over there, and I used to have to kind of defend that. I was like, what, what's your guys' problem? They're good informational songs.
They're great. It's all. I mean, when I was on Goy Boy on that release, and then
that's what they played to start the show.
Oh, really? Was it with me on guitar?
Yes, with you on guitar.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Sweet, because there's, that wasn't the original release. So I guess that would be it. Yeah. And then, anyway, cool. It's good to know. So what, I'm going to have to check that out. Because it's always, I actually was on with, I think I was interviewing Mike. I had Sledge on, and then Payday called in, and then it was just those two with all their information and all their, all their excitement and everything about, the knowledge that they have, which is pretty vast. I got to find that, maybe replay that at some point.
I got to buy Giuliani's.
But I got to warn you, it's very anti-Semitic. But, that means anti-Arab. By the way, if anybody's listening, actually nobody's listening right now. We're just recording this. This will air tomorrow, but maybe I don't know. I don't think I played any music or anything on it because the thing at UCY here is we can't do any copyright stuff. I'm wondering how much does it cost to pay for? Because I mean, Doug over at Oracle had that. Mm-hmm. We were able to play whatever, so I don't know how. I never got around to how much that it actually costs to be able to play, like whatever songs you want, anything copyrighted. Is it like completely and totally expensive, or did something change? I don't even know.
I don't know if you could ask Doug that question and get a straight answer, because he said that he never made any money from advertising, but there was like commercials every 3 minutes, like there was.
I know, we did. It was crazy, the amount of commercials that we had on there.
Shotgun with commercials there.
When I filled in for Fetcho a few weeks ago, there was like 5 minutes at the bottom of the hour or something. So there was little breaks there with certain things, but they also too, like when I spoke to him on the phone, he was like, listen, he said, you can't play any copyrighted information or stuff, because that's where they'll attack you. I mean, that's where they will attack you if like you're stealing shit,
Yeah.
I mean, information, they're controlling information to the point where you can't even play. Like when I do that thing where,
so what about Payday stuff? Can you play all of his?
I can play Payday stuff. Yeah. Because it's not, I mean, it's just, it's not copyright.
Do you want me to send you a couple songs right now?
Sure.
They Gotta Know, Just Off the Coast, and House of Cards. This is from his album, The Patent.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've heard a few things in the back, in the past, but I got to tell you, nothing excites me more than this Missiles with Relish. I mean, there's just so many good songs. He just really tapped into something there. I don't know how he feels, and I want to talk to him, obviously, about it.
I bought all his stuff, and there was, the Patent, the Foundation, and Missiles with Relish, and then there was maybe one or two others that I didn't, there was his earlier work. So,
right.
I'm not. Mm-hmm. It is an underground hip hop, so I wasn't into it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I need at least the clips and the message that he's on today.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff here.
But I do like supporting, artists like that. I do like supporting that type of work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it should be. He should be like, he should be one of the, he should be on the Grammys, for God's sake. He should have been on there the other night.
Yeah. 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 Who do you think you would thank,
Oh my God. It would, whatever he said would be incredibly funny.
Yeah.
And totally damaging to the powers that be. But I mean, you got like this whole, they were talking about all this Illuminati stuff. Like when Jay-Z was up there in the beginning and, he was dancing with, Beyonce. And they were saying that there was something going on there, like there was some kind of, sexual demon thing going on or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see a whole lot of it, but,
normal shuffling around,
Right. Yeah.
The Miley Cyrus Justin Bieber picture composite that got around, that was pretty good. It was like with and without makeup.
Yeah.
I thought the internet trolls voted him to do his next concert in North Korea. Which is, I don't see why that couldn't happen, because if you remember about North Korea, Dennis Rodman was promoting his vodka, like Renegade vodka or something over there.
Renegade vodka.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's just getting drunk with this guy who's, got the keys for nuclear weapons.
Well, I was listening to something the other day with that guy Joel Skousen, and people were like, "Well, why don't we do anything about North Korea and their nuclear arsenal and what they have?" And he said that he believes that they are going to be used as a trigger. Like the reason why they're not going after them is because they're going to be used later for some kind of trigger, which is going to lead to some kind of nuclear exchange where we are actually going to stand down and absorb a nuclear attack. And then, from there, anything's possible. Anything's going to happen. But then he said, then we'll retaliate. And then somebody said, if we absorb that, what's going to be left for us how are we going to retaliate? So there's a lot of.
Well, the thing about us is we can always retaliate because our army is everywhere but here,
Right.
We've got, 300 bases or something all over the world. So if a place is hit here, BFD, we've got bases in every country.
Right.
That can respond to that. So that must have been thought up a long time ago.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that for them to allow us to absorb a first strike is going to I forget exactly how he put it, but it's going to not be good for the future of our country. But then again, they don't really care about it.
I always kind of thought they would do it in Detroit because they have all the Al-Qaedas, they say, running around Detroit.
Al-Qaeda is just running around in the Al-Qaeda bus?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Al-Qaeda's at Home Depot over there.
It's amazing how they can continue to say, every time you see these people talking, it's like, I just want to laugh because it's such a joke. That there's the whole, external enemy thing is an absolute joke. Just to keep everybody in a state of, unsureness. Just all, people, it's just.
Well, there's an external enemy once you fight your internal ones and, say, I'm going to go here and live off the land, and then they come and shoot you for trying to live off the land and using solar panels not connected to the electricity grid, They'd show up with tanks and drones and,
right.
Maybe, maybe, things stop working to the extent where people stop getting paid and then they don't go to their jobs, that sort of a thing.
Right. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find that story about the absorbing the first strike. It's taking forever for that. I don't know what
city do you think they'll hit? Maybe North Dakota, too. North Dakota would be like an oil target.
Something like that.
Yeah, and there's almost no one there. And I think we have had missile silo installations in North Dakota and, out there.
Right.
So, it would be seen as like, I don't know, a defensive offense or something.
Yeah. Bitcoin's going, crazy. That it's obvious that that's not, what people are thinking that it is. Most people are thinking that it is. It's a controlled currency.
Yeah, just keep on buying, silver generators and you'll have your money, Yeah. And guns and all that stuff.
What about Philip Seymour Hoffman is just the tip of the iceberg of the raging heroin abuse epidemic in America. What do you think of that?
Hoffman?
You know anybody on heroin or on heroin?
I have seen people on heroin and it freaks me out because they're like, oh, watch this, I'm going to feel real good. And then you're like, are you dead? What the hell just happened to you?
And they're like, yes, that's what feels so good about it.
Great. It's like, oh, it looks like it killed you. I mean, I could.
Well, whatever it is, it's got to have some kind of allure to it. I don't think I ever want to know unless
Philip Seymour Hoffman. I thought his movies were trash, and I didn't know to take that as good or bad news when he did himself in with heroin.
Mm-hmm.
What do
So,
you,
I saw a few of
what do you
his.
say about these actors and stuff if they commit suicide? If
He's basically an Oscar award winner, and he's got. And one would think that he's got the world in the palm, and then he dies with a syringe hanging out of his arm.
It's interesting that he did a movie that was on like him huffing gasoline. That was like the whole movie. And he was doing remote control airplanes and huffing, that high octane airplane fuel. And there's this book that the Upright Citizens Brigade comedy schools and their sketch comedy schools in LA and New York, they teach that truth is comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And, these actors are probably just playing roles that, are normal to them.
Yep.
So, you see a guy, doing a drug addict, who could be that in real life, and if you, commit suicide from a heroin overdose, which I don't think that, they know how much heroin kills you. Was it Janis Joplin that was dead with heroin?
Yeah, I believe so. Charles Giuliani says that they all had handlers and everything, too, so.
Yeah.
The music industry controlled by who's. And they've got like Jimi Hendrix and all that other stuff. So,
yeah.
Trying to find this. Did you hear that thing that I played last week? It was the media scripting yet again, and they were all saying the same thing. Did you hear that?
It wasn't the one where it was a child's happiness is so important.
Yeah, don't worry, be happy. It was where they're like, don't worry, be happy. And it was like 50 networks or 50 like local news broadcasts where they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So
that's insane. Most people still watch the news, and most people think that that's what to pay attention to. It's bread and circus.
Here it is, Scowls, and why North Korea is the trigger. There's Leanne McAdoo with this huge gun.
What has Alex Jones been doing lately?
Jones has been
doing radio,
basically doing the same thing he always does. Just
I don't see him on the show. I thought.
Well, he's on. He's on. But every now and then he'll have somebody sit in for him. But sooner or later he's going to have to give up the reins. Of being there. I think he loves doing it. I mean, he's obviously getting paid pretty well to just get on there and interview people and then say, and then do his thing where he just like kind of when he doesn't have any guests, like for the first hour, he'll sit there and. Just totally, he'll just totally be like, we're not backing down. We're not going, it's, let's see what we got here. But Skousen, Joel Skousen breaks down why Iran is being allowed to continue its nuclear quest, why North Korea is being allowed to maintain its present totalitarian regime, and what will happen when all of these triggers start to be activated. Skousen predicts an all-out thermonuclear war and the human remnant which will rebuild thereafter. He even discusses safer places from his book, Strategic Relocation, another great interview with Jay Scow. Everybody's like a rock star in the alternative media. Jay Scow. That's what I would call him. J-Lo,
yeah,
J.
I'd like to see how it's spelled, because a lot of these names are spelled a little funny.
Alex Jones would be A. Joe. Yeah, or A. Jew.
Life as I hear.
But as I say, everybody's like, well, how come he doesn't, condemn the Jews and everything? And I just think, I think it's pretty obvious why he doesn't, go and attack them, because as soon as he did that, he'd be labeled as an anti-Semite, and then his people.
His business is over. I mean, he is running a business over there, and it's.
I mean,
he's got to keep his fan base, and most of his fan base is, Christian. The toe of the line type of Christian. Not like the.
Well, he says he's Christian, right? So I mean, did his Jewish wife convert?
He's not living close to the dirt. He should give his possessions to people who are poorer than him if he's a real Christian. I mean, you have to give of yourself. Sermon on the Mount type of stuff.
Is that what they...
Blessed is the weak, and he should throw away his family too and just be with Jesus. That's that's another
that's a little extreme. That's a little extreme.
No, that's in the Bible.
But that's what you're supposed to do, right?
But you're not supposed to take that part of the Bible literally. And,
I think some Jewish guy snuck in there and wrote all that stuff in there because it seems kind of Jewy.
Yeah, Peter stuff was supposed to be.
Seems anti-family. It seems.
Anti-family.
Sounds kind of cattleish, like this is what the cattle would do.
WWCD. What would cattle do? What does that mean? I don't.
So many stories. Let's see if I can kind of cover some of these, or just.
Where are you on Drudge Report?
Kind of drudgy, and then I kind of look at.
I got a clip that you might want to play. I got David Wolf's best quotes ever.
David Wolf, is he like the nutritional dude?
Yeah, he's this nutritional guy.
Where his parents were both doctors.
Yeah, he's not.
I know you're talking about. He does like the juicer. He does the juicer commercials.
He does anything. He's just like, he's classic. He's saying that chocolate has the same resonance as the core of the sun, and that somehow your heart too. It's like my heart chakra's not brown.
I think he's just trying to connect with the female's love of chocolate.
Yeah, and he does that very well.
He kind of looks like somebody from the band 311.
Yeah, he looks like someone from the van in 9/11 that was beside
right. Down, or that song that goes. You got to come original. You got to come original. All entertainers come original. I'm a fan of 311. I'm a big fan of them. Those dudes kick ass. They're fucking kick ass musicians, man. But that thing is, it's taking forever for that one clip to come over. I don't think that's it, but it sounds good. This is taking forever to bring those three songs over.
Yeah, we'll cancel it.
Is it your connection over there or no? You sound pretty clear, man. Like I think you got your microphone stuff.
I think my connection should be just fine.
Yeah, but I mean, your voice coming through, it's like the clearest that you've been in a while.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good. Maybe it's the time of night, or
maybe Al Qaeda's taking a break from stealing all of our bandwidth. Like those terrorists do.
Yeah, maybe certain keywords haven't been said.
Al Qaeda giving us our bandwidth back. Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda cell phone technology can make a call in the middle of any cave.
Wow!
For you spelunkers out there.
So basically,
cell phone service.
Basically, just trying to reaffirm the lie that all of the events of 9/11 were orchestrated from a cave with a guy who had kidney disease and a portable, a camel with a portable, what is that machine for people with kidney disease?
Oh, dialysis.
Yeah, so it was like a camel with a mobile dialysis machine.
It's powered by a small little nuclear reactor on the camel. Yeah, how dare you say that's a lie? You're a conspiracy theorist.
I'm an extremist with a guitar, and that's worse. Because everybody connects with a guitar. Especially when they hear the crunch. It's like Captain Crunch. I'm Captain Crunch. Welcome to Cold Reality Radio with Captain Crunch. All right, so what do we got here?
1,000 crunches a day.
That's right. Keeps crunch away, keeps the terrorists away. Let's see what we got here. I mean, just every day, man, just hearing more and more about this dreaded friggin' Obamacare. It's just.
It's music to my ears.
But it doesn't seem to be having. I'm sorry, I can't speak. It doesn't seem to be having the effect that we want. Like, I don't think it's ever going anywhere when you hear that the heritage. I'm sorry, Christ, I ate hours ago, and I'm getting all kind of gassy. Anyway.
More hydrochloric.
I do. I think I need to take some betaine hydrochloride.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's weird. Like sometimes I'll get heartburn, other times I won't. But where was I? What was I saying? Get your survival shield now. I can't even remember where I was. Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. Broadcasting, actually not even broadcasting, this is just being recorded, where I will have to strategically set up the instruments here in the man cave in the Cold Reality Studios to be able to perpetrate my show out onto the airwaves tomorrow so I think it's been a pretty good show. We still got a little bit of time to go here. I'll be back next week with a live program, providing that that we have internet and we haven't been hit by another one of these, ice storms and things like that. But we've got about 45 minutes left, so we've still got time to buy some survival shield and some tangy tangerine and mix them together, chop them up, snort some survival tangerine.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I do. I have some of that survival shield. I picked up some of it. I've been taking a little bit of the survival shield. I had it energy tested or energy or kinesial. I can't even speak. I had it tested. I can't even. What is
using
that?
Kinesiology.
Using kinesiology, but kinesiology. I can't even think of how to say it. I've said it once with success, but I can't say it in general. But yeah, I did have it tested, and I did have the tangy tangerine tested. Now, I didn't get this makes you stronger, but there wasn't anything bad in it that, made me, made me have a negative reaction to it. So
people need to take that stuff before they go on any of these ridiculous mission trips.
What the thyroid, the survival
whatever they can, colostrums or different whatever immune boosters,
right? Colostrum, right?
I mean,
what do you make of the colostrum? I know that there's a number of different
that's good.
Colostrum was something that kind of came about. I remember it was just like, oh, colostrum, you should take that because it's like some kind of immunoglobulins or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for the immune system.
Well, I think K-Pax was in a study involving AIDS and the immune system, which is the CD4 lab work.
Mm-hmm.
That was proven in that study to raise immunology, and it's on PubMed, and you can find the study out there. It's
PubMed. I like that PubMed.
KPAX, like the Kevin Spacey movie.
Right, I was going to say that sounds like a Kevin Spacey movie. Yeah. KPAX, okay.
Yeah, KPAX.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. And it's just like it's a rice hull thing, and I don't know if it's this gamma arasenol oil that's
what
in
about
there
that IP6? That was one of these things that was out maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, or this IP6. Actually, no, I remember taking some of that back when like right before my parents kicked the bucket. But it was this kind of like IP6, something that they derived, and then I took it one time. But I was also doing the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
So I lost, at least like 80 or 90 pounds doing that, kicking the carbs in the ass. And, but I think I did get dehydrated from it. And of course, from eating a lot of protein and different things like that, I did have a struggle with a couple of, let's just say potty incidences.
Yeah, I think if you just start with cutting out the gluten.
Yeah.
It's such a major step. Like,
absolutely. You're right.
Meat belly thing, and
mm-hmm.
It seems like I can eat like any fruits, nuts, any kind of meat, basically,
mm-hmm.
and have no problems with it. And then if I start eating gluten, then my weight will slowly creep up.
Yeah, it's just like there's something. It's actually they say it from the gluten, it starves the body, it blocks the passageway for certain things, but shouldn't it be blocking fat and a lot of these other things? But anyway, I mean, I think overall it just kind of sits there.
Yeah,
it doesn't break down, and the body just keeps on absorbing it, right?
Your body might see it as an invader, and if it sees it as an invader or something that it doesn't like, that will cause inflammation.
That's the allergy, right?
Yeah. And God forbid if it fills up and clogs, like some cilia or something in the intestines,
mm-hmm.
that the intestines might try to form new cilia, to replace that, and then you just have more intestines, which would make the gut bigger too. And that probably happens.
Yeah, and then I just think about what they talk about the GMOs and the effects that the GMOs have in conjunction.
Yeah, on some people much more than others. I need to get more BT stuff, and I need to get frequencies for that toxin. It's
that's
like a
huge.
bacillum.
Yeah.
But you know what it is. And it doesn't show up on people like you think it would. Every once in a while, like the people with Crohn's or something, or
mm-hmm.
I'm sure probably the people with celiac disease would be more red flagging for
But isn't that Crohn's? You think that comes from, what you were saying before, the
GMOs?
The
possibly.
Candida albicans?
Yeah, Candida albicans. That's Henrik Palmgren on his site, Red Ice Radio, had the best article. Is Candida and how it can control our lives, just like caffeine or anything
right.
else can.
Well, just think about how much bread I mean, even the Bible, bread, and fish, and bread and fish, bread and fish, right?
Yeah, bread and wine, and real good things.
But I think that they were saying that bread or the wheat now is much different than the guy. I think the guy who wrote Wheat Belly or something. He was on CBS Morning News, and they were talking about, or maybe it wasn't even the guy who wrote it, but it was this doctor saying that the wheat that's out there now is something else, and you just even wonder how it even got on the air. That that type of information, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing with other countries is the other countries will burn their GMO stuff. They won't have it because they understand how important the food is that they put into their stomachs. Mm-hmm. And I brought something up on Facebook about that, and I like this farmer because he's a farmer, and we need farmers. But I'm just trying to, give him some stuff about the GMOs, and he posted something. There's no studies that show that GMOs are linked to any cancer. And I had to go to JECR, which is the Journal for Experimental Cancer Research, and pull up like the rat studies. And they're scientific studies. It's done in other countries. But yeah, it's JECR, Journal for Experimental Cancer Research, and just posted that. And his source was written by like some mother, like it's a grandmother, and that's her credentials. She's a grandmother, and she feeds it to her grandkids. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got the scientific information here. That work.
Right.
But, if God says plant this Monsanto seed, then you're going to plant it.
There's a lot of, I signed on to this blog, this Henry Makow. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but if you go to henrymakow.com, it's HenryMakow.com. And this guy wrote a book called Illuminati. He's written a number of them, but Illuminati, the cult that hijacked the world. And this guy is a Jew himself. And he has a number of people writing on his blog. This Wendy asks, what are young people to do? And then he writes about in there that a number of things. I have it on my Kindle. I've been reading it like slowly along with a bunch of other stuff. The Illuminati, the cult that hijacked the world.
Well, did you ever see the David Icke Lizards and the Jews?
I did see it, yeah. We should find that and play that. Is that what does he say about that? I can't remember.
Well, there's a bunch of World Jewish Congresses that are following him. The Congress, a collection of, interconnected people. Right. And they're saying that he is anti-Semitic and he's anti-Jewish because he's pointing the finger at the Illuminati, which they say, these are Jews saying this, that it's well known that the Illuminati was largely Jewish. Or they had Jewish, it's like you're taking a stretch. This guy's saying, it's lizards.
Well, he also talks about Rothschild Zionism.
Yeah.
He talks about, and the people were saying, well, like even back like last summer and everything when, the round tables were going on when Renegade was kind of like busted onto the scene there. And then Kyle and Mike were let go from Oracle. That they were saying things like David Icke wouldn't say, like they were just saying like everybody out there is just full of shit. Even Greg from New Jersey was like, oh, this guy's full of shit, this guy, that guy. And then I'm just thinking some of these people have to have, something. I mean, I can't believe that David Icke is that guy who's starting that space program, right? Was that Richard Branson? I don't know.
Yeah. Well-Aware one is horrible. Tex Mars has been doing a series of shows. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole. I kid you not. That's the name.
Tex Mars has been doing that?
Yeah. He talks about this rabbit hole, that rabbit hole.
There's all different kinds of rabbit. There's not just one kind of rabbit hole. There's different rabbit holes.
Rebel ruined it for me. I can't listen to stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like with that, you just think every time you hear Rabbit Hole, it's like, you know.
And he was talking about Alice in Wonderland, but.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, there's this one here. Play a little bit of this one.
What we're looking at here is a movie. If you're going to keep people in the dark about what's really going on, you have to project a movie at them in which they will have a version of reality, which is the one you want.
There is a conspiracy theory that a shadowy elite of bankers and media moguls are ruling the world from inside a secret room.
They say that the people that control this world could sit around one large table and have lunch.
The theory goes that these elitists plan to create an all-powerful new world order, a world government that will destroy anyone who disobeys them. It is a theory shared by militiamen and neo-Nazis, and in their own way, left-wingers fighting the global elite in Seattle and Prague. The message spreads through underground videos and anti-New World Order talk shows.
Is there a New World Order? There's a New World Order. Is there a new religion coming? New religion's coming. The New World Order has a certain smell about it. The smell of death.
But there's something else. Many conspiracy theorists say that great danger awaits those people who get too close to the truth about the secret rulers of the world.
That's us, Jordan.
This is the story of what happens to one man who believes he's getting too close to the truth.
You know what your radio station is?
Thanks for coming in.
It's pathetic.
Very much for coming in. We'll look forward to seeing it on.
Pathetic.
Thanks for coming in.
And you say you believe in freedom? You couldn't spell it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. This is life in the free world, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know, man. I like David Icke. I think that I think he's a guy who just really, you know, tells the story the right way. You know, when people listen to Alex Jones, right away they kind of get the wrong message. But I think it's the only way that Jones can deliver the message. I think that he's very just tribal and I think that that's just the way he does it. But when David Icke, you know, tells the story of how the few control the many, you can listen to him, and you can really. I mean, I went up to New York when he was doing. I think it was like March. Now, was it February or March?
He travels to countries where he could be jailed for hate speech too. So
yeah, and he was up in New York City, and so I went up there and I spent the day up there listening to him, you know. And there was a decent amount of people there. It wasn't like a super impressive amount of people, but when he's over in his home over there, he gets a lot of people, doesn't he? I mean, he gets an incredible amount of people over in the UK to come to some of these big venues, and so
more than a president gets, you know. When they had Mitt Romney do a stadium, I think he only got maybe 10,000 people there, like a couple hundred. I mean, it's just pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you pull out like a David Icke, he doesn't need Secret Service around him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I like him. I can't. I just, I got, the gut feeling about certain people, and not always right, but I just feel pretty positive that I think David Icke is on the up and up, and it's always good to hear his. The thing is that we've been stuck in this with all these things that are going on. We've been stuck in this lull, this period where there wasn't a lot of stuff happening for a long time, but other than like 9/11 or the wars in between there, and then like what comes next, what's going to be the trigger. So Ike's been just kind of like doing his thing, going around talking to people, but if something does happen, maybe if something happens over in Russia or something, I mean, it's You know, you would think that, I mean, this guy Matthew Mills, who was able to infiltrate the security of the Super Bowl and get right next to the MVP of the game, grab the mic and say, investigate 9/11, and 9/11 was perpetrated by individuals within our own government. You know, that's pretty exciting, but a lot of people were saying, well, maybe something's going to happen at the Super Bowl, and it's like, nah, there's just too much there. There's just too much happening. There's just too many cameras. Something would happen. It's not the type of event. It's not the type of event that they would do something at.
No, you have
they want a
stadium filled with drone people.
Well, they want to perpetuate that all of the things that they're doing, all the precautions and all the, you know, the stuff that they did stopped anything from happening. That's what they want to push out first and foremost.
Yeah.
Is that the police state that they're throwing together, or the things that we have to do for your safety.
Well, I thought the guy who got checked anally 9 times in a day, he's been winning a court case against these unlawful search and seizure types of things, or, you know, basically, I think it's Fifth Amendment rights.
Sounds like some gay guy walked up and said, "There's nothing up my ass. I'm telling you, there's nothing up there."
Yeah.
So that they would go in his backside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing in there, I swear. So I guess this clip we played was David Icke being invited to talk on this radio program. I think it might have been in Canada, Vancouver area or something, and then when they found out what he wanted to talk about, they didn't want to talk to him. They didn't want him on. So that's why he said, "This is freedom.
This is freedom.
I'm David."
Well, Canada got their independence in 1982, right? From the crown, and they still have the crown all over their money. We only have it over like our stamps, but.
Well, this is something I listened to tonight from this one thing. Canadian anchor gives warning to American gun owners.
I knew that as soon as I used a firearm to protect my life, that charges would be laid. That's the typical process that goes on in this country. The Crown seemed to have an agenda to make an example of me that would put the fear into every firearms owner in Canada that you are not allowed to defend your life.
Ian Thompson spoke to him last week on the program. He is a man who has been punished just through having to go through the process of defending himself. And he has to defend himself against the Crown prosecutor upset that Thompson defended himself against 4 men firebombing his home. We are at a state in Canada where they don't want you using firearms for anything, ever. And that's the push. And as we look at what's happening in the United States, that's where they're headed. So I've got a warning to my American friends. Registration will lead to confiscation. And if you don't believe me, just look at what's happened here. Now, are they going towards registration in the United States? Well, according to the Washington Post, the Obama administration is considering a national database of all firearms in the U.S. to, quote, track the movements and sale of weapons, unquote. And if such a database comes to fruition, it will lead to confiscation. Last year, we ended our national long gun registry here in Canada. It was a national database of every rifle and shotgun in the country that was supposed to help police track the movement and sale of weapons. Now, when it was introduced 20 years ago, critics said, hold on. If we register the firearms, they're going to be confiscated. And that criticism was just dismissed. It was ridiculed. Yet that's what was happening right up until the long gun registry was dismantled. As recently as last winter, law-abiding gun owners who had complied with the registry were having their rifles confiscated. In late 2011, hundreds, if not thousands of people who had legally purchased the Army Jaeger AP-80, a .22 caliber variant of the AK-47, were informed that their rifles had been deemed illegal and must be surrendered. The letter read, "You are required by law to return your firearm registration certificates without delay, either by mail to the address shown in the top left corner of this page or in person to a peace officer or firearms officers. You have 30 days to deliver your firearm to a peace officer, firearms officer, or chief firearms officer, or to otherwise lawfully dispose of them." That was sent out by the Canadian Firearms Centre. The reason for the need to surrender what had been legal firearms was simply cosmetic. The AP-80 looked too similar to the AK-47. There were no interchangeable parts between the two rifles. The rifles were vastly different in terms of what kinds of ammunition they used. They also had vastly different uses, but they looked the same. And that was enough. That was enough. And what is more worrisome was that the decision to reclassify what had been a legal rifle for years and years, that decision was made by a bureaucrat, not by elected officials. There was no debate, no vote. It was just a bureaucratic decision. Somebody that felt the AP-80, legally owned for decades, was now too dangerous to be privately owned by law-abiding Canadians. Of course, confiscation of firearms could just be the start of it all. Confiscations of homes and cars could also head down to the United States. Former Marine Joshua Boston recently wrote a scathing response to California Senator Dianne Feinstein's gun control proposal.
Cold Reality Radio starts now. This week on Cold Reality Radio, we have Iranian warships sent to the USA borders. The USA-Russia rift widens at the games. Sochi signs saying we do not serve FBI and CIA agents. Russia, who lit Olympic cauldron, tweeted racist pic of Obama last year. Sochi hijack attempt over...
You're taking a stretch. This guy's saying, it's lizards.
Well, he also talks about Rothschild Zionism.
Yeah.
He talks about, and the people were saying, well, like even back like last summer and everything when, the round tables were going on when Renegade was kind of like busted.
You're taking a stretch. This guy's saying, it's lizards. You're taking a stretch. This guy's saying, it's lizards.
Well, he also talks about Rothschild Zionism.
Yeah.
He talks about, and the people were saying, well, like even back like last summer and everything when
abetted Adolf Hitler, and how the Bushes were the first family when it came to treason.
I've been an investigative reporter and a journalist for 35 years. I've worked in every major media market in the United States, and I've written for more than 100 newspapers and magazines nationally and internationally. So last September 17th, I became the first journalist in U.S. history to go to the U.S. National Archives and the Library of Congress and pore over the thousands of pages of documents in both places to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt or any refutation of the facts that Prescott Bush, the grandfather of George W. Bush, and George Herbert Walker, his maternal great-grandfather for whom his daddy is named, were Nazi traitors to the country who should have been tried for treason. 2 weeks ago, in early August, a major world newspaper, The Guardian of London, finally got on the story internationally, and they flew a renowned reporter of theirs named Duncan Campbell over to Washington to take me back to the archives and Library of Congress so that they could verify that these explosive documents were real and I didn't have forged copies. Prescott Bush was the grandfather of George W. Bush and the father of George Herbert Walker Bush, and George Herbert Walker Bush is named for his father-in-law, George Herbert Walker. Prescott Bush graduated from Yale in 1917 and was in Skull and Bones with E. Roland Harriman, who was the younger brother of W. Averill Harriman. The Bush family really had nothing going. They were essentially social climbers and opportunistic people. At the time that Prescott Bush met Dorothy Walker, he was a tire salesman. And George Herbert Walker, as all fathers do when their daughter's going to marry someone, said in his heart, you know, it's not an appropriate thing socially that my daughter marry a tire salesman. So he brought Prescott Bush first into Brown Brothers Harriman and then Union Banking Corporation. In actuality, it was anything but a bank. It was essentially a Nazi money laundering operation that had a lot of tentacles into a lot of different other businesses. They owned a shipping line called Hamburg American Line, for example, which was the first Nazi front business seized, although the line was no longer operational in 1942. In the early 1930s, it transported Nazi spies into the U.S., and then their promotional ads offered cash rewards to any American citizens who would go back on Hamburg American lines and proselytize for Hitler. 8 months after the U.S. had entered the war, the New York Herald Tribune ran a front-page article, Hitler's Angel has $3 million in U.S. bank. And it caused a major scandal and just rocked the world of politics. Brown Brothers Harriman, which George Herbert Walker and Prescott Bush were affiliated with and partners in, worked with I.G. Farben, which operated Auschwitz. Prescott Bush, he did a number of things that were not only anti-American but were pro-Hitler, and he did all that he could to proselytize for Hitler and the rise of his Third Reich, because the largest client, Fritz Thyssen, of his patron, W. Averill Harriman, dictated what kind of behavior he would practice to enhance his own career. So he was put on the board of directors of Union Banking Corporation, and he was also a shareholder in Union Banking Corporation along with E. Roland Harriman. But what's interesting about what the documents show is that they clearly state that all of the shareholders were phantom shareholders for Fritz Thyssen and did his bidding directly. So the point I'm making is it's not as if they bought these shares of stock as a passive investment to hopefully profit from the war. They were directly doing the bidding of the individual who built the Nazi war machine.
For more news, visit youtube.com/pigmine2.
This is Ozzy Skateboard, and you're listening to UCY.tv.
Some very shocking documents that I saw at the Library of Congress 2 weeks ago on August 10th, on August 9th, excuse me. had to do with the hearings of the McCormick-Dickstein Committee of November 1934. Show that Prescott Bush and the DuPont family, the Remington family, and J.P. Morgan tried to overthrow the U.S. government, assassinate FDR, and put a Hitler-style fascist state in place. I have in my possession testimony from the McCormick-Dickstein Committee in November of 1934 by one of the fascist plotters that they were going to follow Hitler's model exactly and impose martial law on the United States, round up unemployed people that were worthless to the economy and troublemakers and Jews and put them into internment camps. And their plan was, if necessary, to exterminate the people that could not be part of the effort. The only reason the coup attempt in 1934 didn't succeed is that they hired the wrong general to lead it, General Smedley Butler, the great Marine hero, two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, who worked with the plotters just long enough to be able to identify who they were and then blew the whistle on them to Congress. Incredibly, after being warned by the FBI and the Justice Department and the Treasury Department to cease and desist in their Nazi dealings, they had continued them until 1951. There had been 28 additional seizures of Nazi assets and Nazi business fronts between late 1942 and 1951, and that they had moved Nazi assets into Switzerland, Brazil, Argentina, and Panama, and they had continued to do business with their primary Nazi patron, who was Fritz Thyssen, who backed Hitler beginning in 1921 and who was the wealthiest man in Germany, and a steel and coal baron who, with his partner Friedrich Flick, essentially built the Nazi war machine along with I.G. Farben. In 1951, when Fritz Thyssen died in Argentina, Union Banking Corporation was liquidated by the U.S. government, and Prescott Bush received $1.5 million for his holdings in his Nazi business, and that was the beginning of the Bush family fortune for all intents and purposes. George Bush doesn't take his philosophical foundation from the Bible or the teachings of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. George Bush takes his inspiration from what he learned in Skull and Bones and from the Fool Society that Hitler and Goebbels and Goring cut their teeth in, Bohemian Grove, these evil organizations that perpetrate the ugly things that these criminals are doing to this country, for which they must be held accountable. Now you look at the Republican National Convention this week, and you bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger to speak last night. Schwarzenegger is the son of a Nazi. He has praised Nazis. He has praised Hitler. He talked last night in terms like, we will not falter, we will not waver, we will win this war on terror.
He's a leader who doesn't flinch, who doesn't waver, and does not back down.
Well, that's exactly the speeches that Hitler made after the Reichstag fire. Terrorism and the homeland being under attack are precisely the issues that Hitler used to subvert everything within the German system of government. This is a criminal regime. They not only emulate Hitler, but its genesis comes from Hitler. And I defy anyone, a historian, journalist, author, anyone, to come forward and disprove my premise that you cannot differentiate Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939 and the Reichstag fire and his attempt to dominate the world from George W. Bush's unprovoked invasion of Iraq and subversion of the Constitution through the Patriot Act after 9/11, which I submit is his Reichstag fire. Karl Rove and his minions are every bit the masters of propaganda that Joseph Goebbels was. They literally took lessons from Goebbels and Goring about how to create such brilliant propaganda that unreality can become reality, and reality can be subverted to fantasy political subterfuge right before your eyes.
For more news, visit youtube.com/CaveMine2.
This is Ozzy Skateboard, and you're listening to UCY.tv.